There's a lot more to wine than just the liquid in the glass.
BC wine is unique, it's different, can compete with any wine from anywhere in the world.
British Columbia wine is pleasurable. Drinking British Columbia wine is fun. That's what wine's all about.
It's about the people around you when you're consuming that wine. It's about where the wine comes from. It's about the identity of the winemaker and the soils.
And I think it's great.
No one ever regretted buying quality.
Before the free trade agreement, the BC grape and wine industry at that time was basically what they used to call a plonk industry.
British Columbia wine was considered the pariahs of the wine industry.
We were growing Cybele 1000, or Rosette, which I called the ugliest grape I've ever seen in my life.
We weren't worried about the quality. And if I could summarize it in that way, that's the result of the Wine Institute and the VQA. The grape growers were in a pretty cushy situation before the free trade agreement. Their crop was sold no matter how big it was.
As a result of the free trade agreement, we went from 3,300 acres to less than 1,000 overnight. The industry was virtually gone.
The success of the future, it wasn't selling Mountain Red. People didn't come down your road to quaff a jug of Mountain Red.
Because quality was the only way to go. And getting rid of those hybrids helped us out of that trap.
That's when we said, okay, those French hybrids that we were growing in those days aren't all that hardier than some of the European varieties. And then we said, well, we'll take a chance. We yanked those out because it makes lousy wine. And consequently, we planted the vinifers.
I actually was one of the people that said, I don't think we can do that. I don't think we can grow European varieties and all that because the winters are too cold here.
We didn't know. We planted a little bit of everything, and people thought we were crazy because we planted primarily Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, and we had friends at other wineries say, whoa, we can't grow Merlot in the Okanagan.
We've proven that 90% of all the varieties from Europe we can grow here.
And, it was a bit of a gamble, but it worked.
At the end of the day, everybody's borrowed money and replanted these grapes, and they're up to their ears in debt. And we all had to row in the same direction, and we all had to bail, and we all had to get along, or we wouldn't have an industry.
Some grape growers chose to pull out and exit the business. And then some, as my dad would say, were too old and too stubborn to do anything else, so banded together, formed the British Columbia Wine Institute and BC VQA.
VQA really set a bar, really set an example of premium wine production. And that was very, very important to us because our industry was literally starting fresh. And to have these standards and this high bar of quality was something that we could really sell to the consumer, to the restaurateurs and the retailers. And it really allowed us to elevate our game as it has done now for 30 years.
BC VQA set the table to allow better wines to emerge.
VQA is your only assurance that that product is 100% British Columbia grown. It has to be 85% of that varietal. It has to be of that vintage. It's gone through a taste panel. Here is your assurance that this wine has no faults, is of quality.
Unless we have a quality standard, you cannot say, hey, we have great wines. Okay, how come? Prove it to me. Who checked it?
We did a good job starting this, and it's got some years behind it, and VQA has put us on the international map.
If it weren't for BC VQA, I don't believe that we would have an industry here today. It really forced the wineries to work together, to market together, and to raise the quality of our wines together.
We got to show the world the Okanagan Valley in British Columbia is just a fantastic place to grow grapes.
It was exciting. We were just dancing up and down the rows as we tended the vines.
My father, when he started in this business back in 1990, none of us ever thought the industry would grow to where it is today.
And we said, God, by the year 2000, if we've got 50 wineries, we're a success.
Initially, this was all orchards from here to Penticton.
You've gone from a couple $1 million a year industry to what, is it a billion now? I don't know.
In Canada, the wine industry, $9 billion of economic benefit. In British Columbia alone, $3 billion. That's impressive, that's important.
It's run past me. I'm going as fast as I can, and the leading edge of the industry is just getting farther and farther and farther away from me. I used to know every winemaker and every grower. Well, fat luck now. But that's not a bad thing.
The growth that we've seen and the passion of people getting into this business is totally remarkable.
I'm excited every time you open a decanter or a Wine Spectator and there's another British Columbia wine mentioned, because you know how much work went into that. And we are this little region that not as many people know of.
Time rolls by, man. I don't know where those 30-odd years have gone, but every day has been like this. It's just a pleasure.
It's just been a fun trip the whole way.
The BC wine industry, if you're really into it, is not a profession. It's an obsession.
I really love the life that it's created for us and our family. It's been fulfilling, rich, interesting, and I regret nothing.
If I live another 50 years, it'll always be new and different. That's the wonderful thing. Here's to us. And that's really damn good stuff. Does anybody want to taste?